All right, I'm going to walk you through a broken valve cover. I think this is called a crankcase vent or a PCV. This goes on driver's side of any Triton engine. I think it's like the 4.6, the 5.4, the 6.8. And it sits right here, and there's a hose that goes back to your throttle body. And whenever you're messing with this intake, or sorry, your air cleaner, that usually gets forced that way, and when that happens, invariably it ends up pushing and breaking. There's a little tiny plastic nipple here usually. So once that breaks, it really sucks. This is the hose that goes with it, and this hose sits on there like so. And like I said, when you push that air cleaner back, it does that, or it goes like so. And over time, you know, it's a 20-year-old truck, it breaks that off. So the little plastic nipple that they put in there, I can't get this thing to focus quite right, is pretty anemic. So what I did was I got a 59/64 drill bit. I have a 3/4 NPT tap. This is just what I had. If I'd have had a 1/2 inch, I probably would have used it. And then I have some of these laying around from various farm projects. That is a 3/4 male thread, with the white stuff on it, and that is a 1/2 inch barb insert. So anyways, that works out about right so that you can still do this one-handed here. Put that on, and I'm going to put a little hose clamp on there. And then when I know that I'm going to change things, I can just loosen that hose clamp up, wiggle that off, and then I know that I'm not going to destroy everything. Oh, I just realized that's actually the end that's got to fit there. So I'll have to nibble this back, or maybe even get a different hose, I guess. I hadn't considered that. Bit of an oopsies there. But because this sits higher, I think I'll have room to cut this off and still make it bend and fit. But there's not enough wall material in this right here. Sorry, the road grader's going by for the noise. There's not enough wall material in here to get anything more than 2 or 3 threads. So when you do that and you try to thread this piece into that, it's not going to work. It's going to wallow. It's going to go all over the place. I tried lubing it. I tried being super nice to it. Maybe with a brass fitting, it would dig a little bit better. But with this, it just skipped the threads, and I was nice and straight. I just think there's just not enough material there. So what I did was I took my handy knife and I held this like so up against me, and I just went like that, and you just cut all the threads off of it, right, or most of them. And then I chucked it up in, for me it was an 1 inch and a 1/16 socket, and I just went with the impact gun, and it just caught, and it went in straight. And I mean, it's in there really tight. There's a slight gap there at the bottom. I'm going to throw some RTV sealant around that just to make sure there's no air leaks. But I mean, I pulled and tugged on this thing. I mean, it's solid. It's never coming out of there. And if it, for some reason, did fall, I know your thoughts like, oh, it's going to fall in there and take something out. There's like a windage tray in there. So even if that does fall, it would have to fall out that little slot right there to actually get to the rockers. So good design there, Ford. The other thing I would say is that this is plastic. It probably wouldn't actually destroy anything. I mean, it would make a giant mess, and I wouldn't want it, but it'll be fine. So anyways, if you have a broken PCV vent cover, you can get this part number. This is for the V10, but it's like 130 bucks. This is a 35-cent fitting. So if you have the tap and you have everything, you could probably do this. If you don't have a tap, the other option would be to drill it out to the actual outside diameter of those threads. Run this in, and then you could run some super glue, some RTV sealant around here. It didn't seem to, when I did have RTV on here for a long time, it never melted. It never was a problem. It's just so soft that if you pump it while you're changing your air filter or doing any kind of engine maintenance, it will shear off. You can get the high temp stuff if it makes you feel better. But anyways, the other option, if you don't have a thread and you don't want to go buy one, would be to drill this out to the OD of your threads, slip this in there, and then you could try to glue it in place. If you have a plastic welder with some black ABS, I think that would work pretty well. That was, if this didn't work, that was my step, that was my C plan. But thankfully this rammed in there and it went really well. If I had a brass fitting, I'd have used it. I just didn't want to have to make a 20-minute trip to town just to get a 50-cent fitting. I really need this thing back up, so I got to get going. Yeah, these intakes are kind of a pain in the butt. I had to replace these intake gasket. I've done this valve cover gasket probably a year or two ago. If you do these, I do have a recommendation. Make sure you put a little bit of RTV sealant here and here. They like to leak there. If you read the Fel-Pro guide, it'll tell you that. So anyways, that's that. Hope that helps, and have a good day. God bless.